Configuration of BGP. I'm using OSPF, single area OSPF in autonomous system 8989 and multi-area OSPF in autonomous system quad 8, right? So the first thing we need to do, we're gonna start up the routing process. Oh no, the dreaded domain server. So let's move on from that for a second. Let's go in the middle. I should have disabled domain lookup. Oh man, I love the Cisco CLI. I just feel happy and tingly and get goosebumps every time I'm about to do something here. So router BGP. So router BGP, we're gonna put the autonomous system number of this router, which is essentially a service provider router. We're gonna be connecting these two autonomous systems together and send some data across the network, and you know, just to get, you know, used to setting up BGP or basic configuration of BGP. So router BGP, we're starting the BGP process. We have to use this AS number, quad 9, right? And then now we're gonna form the neighborships with router 2 over here and ABR2 over here. So neighborship with router 2 in ASN 8989 and with ABR2 with ASN quad 8, right? And how we do that is explicitly configuring it. Neighbor, and let's find out the IP address of, let's start over here. Let's find out the IP address. So it's going to be, so G02 is 192.0.1.2. 192.0.1.2 remote AS, and then it's going to be quad 8. Now, for those of you who are probably studying for the CCNA, this probably looks familiar. This is a public IP address, but it looks like 192.168. You got to remember though, in request for comments, 1918, the non-routable IPv4 addresses, the block of IP addresses for inside networks is from 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. So this is our public IP address that we're using right here. And we formed, or we're attempting to form a neighborship with this router right here. And then we're gonna go in the other direction and form a neighborship with the other router. And that's gonna be 200.0.1.1 remote AS. I hope I remember that correctly. And it's gonna be 8989, right? So the remote AS means the autonomous system in another network, right? The autonomous system out there somewhere, right? Now, that's all you really need to do for the service provider, right? And again, if I'm doing this conceptually incorrect, you guys can correct me. So now that's cleared, we can do it on here. And this is the fun part. This is where we start mixing in some routing stuff, right? BGP, and that's gonna be 8989, right? 8989. This gets the BGP process started on the router. And then now we're gonna form a neighborship with our service provider. It's gonna be 200.0.1.2 remote AS 9999. Boom. So this is a note. This syslog message right here is notification. Adjacency change, neighbor, up. So we don't even need to verify it's up, right? But there's other ways that we can verify our and I hope you guys can see this because this might be a little bit small. Should have checked before. You guys should probably see it. So adjacency change, and the other way we can verify this is by doing a series of show commands, one of which is the show IP route. We can see what routes are learned via BGP, and it should be noted with a B, which we're going to see in a second, right? So now we want to start to enable BGP for specific interfaces by using the network command. And you have to explicitly configure it. And these masks, by the way, are network masks. They're not wildcard masks. So these are the loopback interfaces of the routers in our single area OSPF network in autonomous system 8989, right? And we have another one, right? And I'm going to show you something in a second. I'm going to leave out one command. We have to advertise this summary route right here for all of these networks right here. Rather than configuring them explicitly, we just all we need to do is do a little summarization and summarize them, right? And that's with a /16. But there's another step that we have to do, and you're gonna see in a second. Hopefully I don't forget. So the next thing we're gonna do is do the same thing on this router right here. Get the BGP process up and running. Router BGP, and it's going to be for quad 8. Let's double check. And then we're going to form a neighborship with our service provider, which is going to be, I forgot which one we used. G01. G01 is 192.0.1.1. 192.0.1.1, remote AS, quad 9, right? Okay, so it's up. Syslog notification 5, BGP, this is the mnemonic. Facility for you CCNA, notification, mnemonic, description. Of course, you can do the sequence and the timestamp and stuff like that, but we have to activate it. Next thing, we're going to this is gonna be a little bit, but we're going to be essentially configuring our BGP to be activated on these interfaces and advertise all of these loopbacks. There's like 7 of them. Yeah, 7 of them. So just bear with me here. See why we use summary masks? This would be something if we weren't using summary masks and we had a bunch of networks on the inside of our autonomous system. This is what we'd have to do, pretty much. I'm pretty sure there might be a better way to do this. Network 10.0.0.0 mask 255.0.0.0. And the reason we did this is because we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We essentially have 6 networks with 10 with the 10.0.0.0 network that we need to summarize, right? So we just summarized it. We have 10.1.1.0/30. We have about 6 of these networks that we can summarize by using this summary network right here, summary route right here. But in order for us to do that, in order for that to actually work, because look, now I'm gonna ping across, right? Let's just do ping and it should work. It works, right? To ping from over here to ping a loop back, it works. And the reason why it works is because we can see that it learned these routes via BGP. It's a great way to verify it, right? But now let's try to ping one of these inside networks here. doesn't work, right? So how about if we do this? Now we're gonna set up a route. We don't see, let's look over here. Where is the route for the 10.0 network? Where's the route? There's no route for it, right? Even though we are advertising it, it's not showing up in our routing table. So what we have to do is, let's do this. IP route. Null zero. Now, don't ask me what null zero means. I'm still struggling to figure out what null zero is, but we'll get to that in a second. Now we're gonna do the ping again, right? Let's see what happens. Oh, still not reaching it, right? It's unreachable. Why is that? Because now, let's look at this. I should have did this before. Do show IP route. See, this one knows all of the routes, right? Well, the routes that it's advertised. So you see it learned this. Let's go back. Let's go back real quick. Let's get rid of that command real quick. And let's see what happens to the SPR's routing table. Got rid of that route we got rid of this route, right? We see that it's not in the routing table. Not in the routing table, right? It's not in the routing table. Then let's do show run, and we see that for BGP, we see where is it? Network. We see that we configured it, right? So we're like, where is it? Like, why is it not showing up? And also here, it's not showing up as well. Let's do it again. It's gonna not show up in this one because before, look, it was right here. Now it's nowhere to be found. The issue is, of course, again, we need to make sure that that route is in this routing table so that it can advertise it out here, and then it'll reach over here via BGP, ideally, right? It learned about everything else, right? So now it knows about that network via the SPR, right? SPR router, right? Now we try to ping here and it's unreachable. The problem is that we need two-way reachability. We have no knowledge of the 172.16 networks, right? No knowledge of it in either that routing table or in this routing table right here. So now we need to make sure that this command is configured. Just like on the router in ASN quad 8, we need to configure that route, the summary route for the 172.16 network, right? 172.16.0.0 255.255 null zero. Still got a lot to learn about null zero. I don't even want to speculate because I don't even have like a solid idea about it. I still gotta develop my thoughts around it. So, but I do know that we need that. So now, success. And again, this is because it needed two-way reachability. It needed two-way reachability. So now it knows how to get there. It knows the path is through this router right here. And it knows this router, this router knows about it as well. It knows how to get back to the network that pinged it, right? So when you're pinging, in order for a ping to be successful, the router that's pinging there needs to be two-way reachability between the two routers. So the router that's pinging has a path to the destination, but the router that was pinged needs a way to send that ping back. So it needs two-way reachability, essentially. So that's pretty much it for the basic BGP configurations. But